Leo, you've entered the house of Sigils. Welcome in. Let's begin. I'm going to use the Secret of the High Priestess spread today. First up, we have the Power card. 4 of Pentacles. Crossed by 3 of Wands. A card of Virtue. Your waxing energy, that which is growing. 9 of Cups. Happiness. Present energy. Full moon energy. 6 of Cups. Success. That which is waning. Queen of Swords. In the darkness we have the 10 of Wands, oppression. In the light we have the Magician. Your advice on what to do is the Star. And then of course at the end we'll have the Book of Secret Knowledge, which lays in the High Priestess's lap. Taking a look around the reading, we have quite a couple of court cards. We have some fire, we have some earth, we have some water. The Queen's always representing water. The water of air with the Queen of Swords. So something is coming into focus for you, Leo. Let's take a peek. So the main theme, that which is it and that which crosses it. We have the Sun in Capricorn right out of the gate, and then the Sun in Aries crossing it. 4 of Pentacles, Sun in Capricorn, manifestation, integrity, and character. So either something you've built or something you're building that you're putting all of your best intention into at the moment. There's a couple of themes that come up with the 4 of Pentacles. Either your structure is super rigid and you're having a hard time letting go of that rigidity, or that your structure is super fluid and needs a bit of rigidity. However, that 3 of Wands coming through is an intense fire, however, slightly more relaxed than, say, the 2 of Wands or Dominion. So the 4 depends really on the background of the person and what's going on. It's an admonishment, indicating a need to become more established in character, right? Or it could be a challenge to someone to submit one's own rules and principles to the flowings of life or the impulses of the heart. So whichever one that is for you, and I'm sort of picking up that this is the latter. Something is asking you to be a little, well, it's your internal fire. It's that thing that makes you go, makes you tick, Leo. It's asking you to let your guard down on something. It's asking you to be a bit more flexible. What in your life has been like a rigid fort? What in your life has been so solid that some things can't be let in? Right? What in your life has been so rigid that it hinders your growth or hinders those personal experiences, right? Hinders those emotional relationships that are so necessary and key to our personal growth. So as we move up to the cycle of the moon, we can see we'll begin with what is waning. So what is currently sort of losing influence in your life, and what we have there in the waning moon is the Queen of Swords. So we do know that swords represent intellect and air, right, and ideas, and we do know that queens always represent water. So we have the watery side of air, so the emotional side of the intellect here. The Queen of Swords is usually pretty straightforward. You can see that she has some clear-cut ideas and thoughts about things and how they should go. And let's take a little peek into the Queen of Swords. So something in your recent past has asked you, this energy has asked you to take off your mask, and maybe that is leading into this need or this idea of sort of breaking down these solid walls of this Four of Pentacles, this fortress. Breaking through old masks, through old roles, gaining clarity, rational, intellectual, logical, and objective. I feel like this, though, you're still sort of in the process of that, of the recognition that something needs to be broken down, a rigid structure of some sort needs to be broken down, and the Queen of Swords is calling you to do that. Sometimes, though, when we take those masks off and we step outside of those roles, it comes with a ton of painful experience. Sort of ripping off the Band-Aid, if you will, to gain some of that insight into what you need to have for the success of that to happen, right? For that Six of Pentacles to come into fruition. But by doing that, it's worth it. By doing that, it sets you free, right? It sets you free from this rigid structure by taking off that old mask. And you can see in the card, if we can get a close-up shot of it, you can see in the card she's sort of holding this mask as she flies into the air, sort of cutting through the clouds and trying to gain clarity on whatever the structure is. But it's also asking you to take a peek at what those things are that you most easily hide behind. And are you really, truly ready to drop them? A word of advice would maybe be to observe yourself, to take a minute, take a pause, to reflect on how you behave in certain areas. Like, do you change your personality too much? I think everybody changes their personality a little bit to fit in every situation in life, right? You're going to act a little bit differently at the grocery store than maybe you do at a rock concert, right? And then also differently at home, and then differently again when you're around your mother. But to really take a look and see how differently you're acting. So maybe some of those roles aren't needed anymore. Some of those behaviors aren't needed anymore. So looking at present energy, success. So I feel like by doing that, you are going to see some of that success. And maybe you have already entered the process of dropping some of those old rigid patterns. Letting that Queen of Swords sort of work in you and drop those old rigid patterns. And you are seeing some success. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the Six of Discs, or the Six of Pentacles. Moon in Taurus energy. The external manifestation of the inner success and transformation. It's exactly the thing that I had just said. There are several aspects to this card. As you look a little bit closer, you have Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, the Moon, Mercury, and Mars, right? be open to dropping those roles. Be open to whatever successes are coming into your life. It's a gift. You can learn from it. It's something to be thankful for, and something to express, and something to have sort of a quiet, humble nature about it. But be thankful for those times and those areas in your life where you're able to recognize the structure, the rigid structure, the role that you're playing. Recognize when it is that you do and don't need them, and if you don't need them, then to shed that. And what does that mean for you in the moment? Like, what is it? What is it that the old structure will then uncover? What does success really mean for you, right? How does it enrich your life? How does it enter all levels of your being? How does it sort of transform you through this process? And then the current waxing energy, or the energy of the moon that is sort of building, is the Nine of Cups and happiness, right? Which we see here, we've gone from 3 to 6 to 9, and happiness being that full-on joyful countenance, that thing that makes your life feel lighter. We dig into the Nine of Cups a little, that energy that is gaining in your life. Jupiter in Pisces, right? Jupiter always looks for the best, always says yes to everything, right? Overflowing deep joy and blessings. And it's asking you not to miss out on those joys, right? Those roles that we play, those structures that we play, that we need to bring a little bit of virtue into, and a little bit of honesty into, a little bit of authenticity, that Queen is asking us to have that success. And when we do, don't miss it. By keeping up some of these masks that you're keeping up, by playing some of these roles that you don't need to play, you're missing out on some of the happiness that is already present in your life and is already growing. You've already seen some of this happiness coming forward, but there's more coming, and so don't miss it. But then be open to understanding and knowing where it is that you go to seek success. Where do you find your happiness? What are those places where you can go and attend and be yourself, where you can drop those roles that you've kept up? And so moving further along, we can see then the energy which is in the dark, although you may have already sensed this coming a bit. When we aren't ourselves, when we play a role, or we stay in a role too long, or we sort of mask that true nature of ourselves, and we're not constantly looking for those moments of happiness and those times to be our authentic self, we create a prison of sorts. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, there's a man carrying a bundle of 10 staves, of 10 wands up a hill, and he looks increasingly more tired. This is energy that has burned itself out. This is energy that, although still fiery, has carried too much for too long. It's sort of too little too late, right? You've burned it all up. There is no more energy left. You've taken it to its pinnacle. And the sense that I'm getting in the theme that's running is that you're tired of holding up this fortress. You're tired of keeping this alive. You're tired of playing this role. You've carried too much. Perhaps you are in a relationship that's one-sided. Perhaps you are in a living situation where you're asked too much, where you're drained, you're asked to give too much money, too much time, too much support. Or perhaps you're in a role where you shouldn't be, and you're asked to do things that you're just not capable of. In either sense, these roles have become oppressive. And the only way through is to create something different. And that's what the magician, the magus, is asking you to do in the energy that is in the light. It is a direct admonition to take your power and create something new and different, because you are the star. You are that pure energy of the universe. You are the light. It is asking you to let go of the burden of carrying these roles, and let go of the burnout, drop the staves, walk up the hill, take a breath, take a look around, see what tools you're working with, and move forward. And let's dive a little bit deeper into the magus and to the star. So this is pure Mercury, communication. Playful dealings with all possible forms of communication, flexibility, and brilliance. I can imagine that by staying in these roles, you don't feel yourself. The playful feelings are gone. The exuberance for life. The things that used to make you happy are not necessarily being allowed to let shine. However, they want to. Your success is in dropping these roles in this fortress. Using that inner truth, that inner acceptance to burn through the oppressive nature of all the roles that you've been carrying. So the mercurial nature of the magician then stands for truth and falsehood, right? It brings all ideas, all judgments, all sets of reality to it. And it's an understanding that things can change. The things that you want to have can change. You have at your disposal brilliant capabilities, right? So you have all the tools that you need to change this situation in your life. And that's exactly what I had said earlier. I had just read a passage. So you have the opportunity to change your surroundings right now, whatever it is. You can make that change, whether it's a work situation or a home situation or a relationship situation. You've been asked to play these roles that you're not necessarily comfortable with anymore, and it's become a burden. But you have the ability to make the change inside of you. So visualize it, decide what it is, describe it to yourself, describe it in the comments if you want. Let me know what it is that you need to change. What is it that would make you happy and satisfied? And I can imagine it being stepping into that true self, right? Dropping the roles and stepping into the true self, the star. And that is your advice. And let's take a peek at what the star has to say for you today. Aquarius, inspiration, crystallization, self-recognition, radiating clear vision, trust in the self, connection to universal intelligence. Let yourself rise. Let yourself be the star. Let yourself come out at night. Let yourself be who you truly want to be. Gain the clarity that you want by dropping the roles. Find that environment that you know and love where you can be yourself, and then trust it. That is what the star is asking you to do. If this is a work thing, find the place where you're truly fulfilled. I'll bet that it's something that you already know. You already understand where it is that you should be. Those environments that you should be in where these roles can be completely dropped. It doesn't mean it'll be easy. I think you'll be tested. It's not easy to be yourself sometimes, and maybe it is for some people, or they've done all the work, right? They've dropped all the masks. They've destroyed all those limiting beliefs. But when you destroy one, another one creeps back up, right? So it's not going to be an easy task. But you have everything in your power to escape the cage, right? Escape the roles. Become yourself. Become the star that's rising. Then check to see that you're doing everything possible to bring you to that place, right? Is your connection with your imagination and yourself being allowed to fully breathe? Is it being allowed to fully breathe? So let's take a look now at the Book of the Secret Wisdom of the High Priestess, and traditionally a trump card or a major arcana card. The first, 20 or so cards of the deck. In this spread, if this Book of Secret Knowledge isn't a trump card or a major arcana card, well, then the High Priestess has kept her secret. However, if it is, then the secret can be revealed. Let's go ahead and flip that over. So we have the Prince of Wands. So traditionally, this card is to be left unread. It's not a major arcana card, so the High Priestess has kept her secret to herself this day. We'll flip this card back over, and we will see you again next time, Leo. Thank you so much.